Thank you all for being here today. My name is Caitlin Perez. I'm the PIO for the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. For most of our local media partners, you know that we don't host news conferences often, but this week we have 2 in 1 week. Not only did we take 21 predators off the street on Tuesday, but this is the conclusion of a very long-term undercover investigation that we are very proud of. We also, as you can see, brought in evidence for you to see this afternoon. This is a pretty big deal. So, of course, I'm going to introduce Sheriff Tom Knight, but I also want to introduce Assistant Special Agent in Charge from the DEA, the Tampa District Office, Mike Ferguson, who's here with us as well today. So Sheriff Knight will kick it off with a couple comments. Mike is here to answer any questions that you have. And then at the end, for our media partners, you're welcome to come up and take some photos and videos of the seizures that we have here. Okay, so thank you guys again for being here. Sheriff Knight.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Sure.
So, Mike, you know, and I think I know most of you, and I don't do a lot of press conferences, so, you know, but I felt it was important that our partners with the DEA and the federal agencies, and I think Sarasota Police, and we all work hard to here together, that it's important to tell this community some of the things that we're doing here locally. So we have a good story. I'm going to try to tell you the story. There's some things that we can't talk about because there's ongoing investigation, but I'll do the best I can do to kind of tell you the story, what's going on the last 6-7 months here with the Sheriff's Office and our partners. And of course, Mike would answer any questions for you too that you probably have for the DEA. And I think it's fair to say the news conference today is the results of an operation our detectives named Operation Night Train, a 6-month undercover investigation focused on one of the most prevalent illicit drugs we are now seeing here in Sarasota County, methamphetamine. As you can see on the table over here, this investigation yielded major results, and I hope that Sarasota County and the citizens are proud of the work that was done here by all law enforcement. Detectives launched their investigation in October 2017 when they connected 43-year-old Brian Tharp with obtaining and distributing large amounts of meth. For the next 6 months, detectives will work to identify Tharp's associates and others who may be involved within his network. In February, detectives arrested 53-year-old Gary McLeod. After discovering drug paraphernalia in his vehicle, McLeod agreed to a search where deputies recovered nearly 24 grams of meth hidden inside his shoe. McLeod was charged with trafficking in meth. In March, detectives received information that 26-year-old Dylan Woodward was selling drugs out of a hotel room in Northport, the Budget Inn. A search warrant was executed where detectives located more than 170 grams of meth, oxycodone, various drug paraphernalia, and cash. Woodward was arrested and charged with trafficking of meth and possession of a controlled substance. In May, detectives arrested 45-year-old Kevin Preston after he provided meth that was sold to undercover detectives in January. At the time of his arrest during a search of his vehicle, detectives recovered an additional 87 grams of meth, 58 grams of cannabis, and several prescription pills. Preston was taken into custody, charged with trafficking in meth, possession of cannabis, and possession of controlled substance. The following day, detectives continued their investigation into Tharp, executed search warrants at his home in the 300 block of North Jackson Road in Venice, South Sarasota County, as well as his storage unit that the detectives executed a search warrant on. That portion and this portion of the investigation up to date has yielded more than 8 pounds of meth, $163,000 of seized cash, nearly 70 prescription pills, 400 grams of marijuana, and a semi-automatic handgun that you see here today. To date, as we've researched back at the Sheriff's Office, this is the largest seizure of methamphetamine in the Sheriff's Office history. Both Tharp and his 25-year-old girlfriend, Carly Potiker, were arrested and charged with trafficking methamphetamine. Tharp is in our jail right now currently, and we're working on additional charges for him. By all counts, and I want to thank the detectives who worked on this and thank Mike and the DEA and everybody involved, this 6-month investigation took a significant drug dealer off the streets of Sarasota County, and we're very proud of that. Tharp is considered a prolific offender with nearly 24 prior arrests in Sarasota County. He's also served 2 stints in prison for fleeing to elude, possession of a controlled substance, battery on a first responder, and driving with a license suspended, believe it or not. My hopes as sheriff is, of course, is that this is the last time he's going to be out dealing drugs and doing these things in Sarasota County, and certainly we'll be monitoring this and hoping and believing he's going to get himself a nice long prison term and get him out of here. Combined, these 5 people have 84 prior felony charges, 20 convictions, 67 prior misdemeanor charges with 22 convictions. Significant prior charges include fleeing to elude, possession of synthetic narcotics with intent to sell, obstruction, aggravated battery, and many more. During this operation, 8.49 pounds of meth and more than 454 grams of cannabis were seized. The estimated street value of the meth is $380,000. So you can see the amount of money that would have been taken in this community and the amount of meth that would have gone out if this investigation would have come the way it's gone. I think it's fair to say, and I think Mike may even touch on it too, in our society, there's an ebb and flow when it comes to illicit drugs. It's something we see nationwide, and something in my 32 years in law enforcement I've seen. A year ago at this time, you heard this sheriff's office strongly vocalizing our concern with heroin and fentanyl. Now we're seeing large quantities of meth come into our community, and we're going to be working on that now to see if we can rid our community. This operation that we did today, or are announcing today, will be continuing. We're not done with it yet, so there's certain things that we can't talk about. It's ongoing, but it not only took a lot of meth and a lot of drugs off our streets, but also took a weapon off our streets. And Tharp and his associates, we believe, is one of the most significant distribution points in the county. So I want to thank Mike and the DEA. I want to thank everybody that's working with the DEA from different agencies and thank for their hard work. Most importantly, I want to thank my detectives who go out there every day for 6 months and worked on this and at nighttime. That's why it's called night train. And the Attorney General's office is involved, statewide prosecutor and others. But with that said, that's where we're at. We have everything here. We'll take some questions. I know Mike is here. Would like to take some questions from you. If you have any questions, this is the time.
Sheriff, we'd like to know, as you mentioned, we spend so much time talking about fentanyl and heroin, and now meth is back in the picture. Like, it's almost like it's cyclical. Why this rise in meth cases?
That's a great question. Mike maybe would better answer me. It's like the ebb and flow of our society. When I started 32 years ago, it was powder cocaine, turned into crack cocaine. Then we moved into the pills, and as we raided the pain clinics, then we run into the heroin. Fentanyl, as you probably all well know, we never knew about fentanyl until a couple years ago. It popped up on our radar screen. We had some overdoses, and now here we are with the meth. It's what our society is. Mike, you might know more about the trends or why. I don't really know why we have a society that has this need to put something in their body or something illegal. Some people speculate that the drug addicts are even scared of the fentanyl too, and that they know what's out there and they're looking for some other way to get a fix. And so maybe this is it. But Isabel, I wish I had the exact answer for you because I really don't know. Do you have anything to add to that, Mike?
It's plain and simple. The evidence you see here before you that Sarasota County Sheriff's Office was able to take off the streets of your communities is a direct contribution from the Mexican cartels. They're infiltrating Florida. They're infiltrating the United States. Last year along the southwest border, there were 21,000 kilograms of methamphetamine seized. That's only along the southwest border. 46,000 pounds of methamphetamine. The methamphetamine you see before you is probably higher than 90% pure. When I first joined DEA, you would see methamphetamine come in not as beautiful a form as crystal. It would be in chunks. It was yellow, 50 to 60% pure. Now you're seeing it above 90% pure. The profits are immense, and that's the reason for the scourge on our communities, is the profits.
Is it just as deadly as a fentanyl heroin?
Yes. The methamphetamine and other psychostimulants are the result of 7,600 deaths in 2016. It's just as deadly. If you take a look at that, there were 64,000 overdose deaths throughout the United States. Methamphetamine and psychostimulants resulted in 7,600 of those.
It's amazing, like Mike was saying, is that, our heroin, our fentanyl, Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. We keep hearing Mexico. It's everything, correct me if I'm wrong, everything's coming out of Mexico through Georgia and down into Florida.
That's correct.
And Sheriff Knight, when this money is taken off the streets, how does this go back to help our community then? I know you guys have had some.
Yeah, that's a great question. The money that we seize here, for the most part, we use that money at the time when the time is right. We'll give back to nonprofits. Typically, we like to select children charities, and we have used it for certain things, but the most times we give nearly $100,000 a year away to nonprofits, specifically and most importantly is to charities involving kids, our Boys and Girls Clubs, our YMCAs, different nonprofits that help us out in the summertime. So that's a great question, is that money will go back into the community.
Kind of if you can touch on the significance, of this drug, but it's spending, 8 pounds of meth, over $163,000 in
Yeah.
cash. How does this kind of compare to some of, your recent drug busts or other ones?
Well, like I said earlier, is that going back, I've been 32 years, I've been here with the Sheriff's Office, pushing 10 now, and talking to the people who've been here longer than me. This is probably the most significant meth arrest this office has ever made. And so for those of you who know me, I don't do a lot of press conferences, so it takes a pretty big story for us to come out and do a press conference like this. We usually just push things out. So it's significant, and the amount of money that would have been, this STARP guy was in a position to profit up to $380,000 from this, and more importantly is, would he profit from it, is that this is all out in the street. You heard the agent say about the purity of this, how dangerous it is, the opportunities for people to overdose. So, we're here to protect people, not just get drugs off the street, but we want people to get better. And those addicts, we have opportunities for them to get better. We want them to get clean. We don't want to get them in an overdose or get them in a death because they use it. But this is as dangerous as the fentanyl we've seen. You heard Mike talk about that, is that this is pure meth, and it's as dangerous as the fentanyl and the heroin that we've been seeing here the last couple years. And everything evolves. In 2009 when I got here, we had pain clinics, and we were able to do things to get the pain clinics gone. And then we had the heroin, now the fentanyl, now here we are with the meth. And so, but it's very pure, like you said, so it's very dangerous. So the message is, this is significant for Sarasota County. I hope that our partnerships with all law enforcement, the Sheriff's Office and the DEA, is getting us out of Sarasota County, and most importantly is getting Mr. Tharp behind bars and leaving him there.
Were the other 3 men connected to Mr. Tharp? I know his girlfriend's on the right.
Yeah, they're all associated. That was part of the investigation. So we still have more investigation to do. It's still open, and we have some more work to do, more opportunities. And so, yeah, they're all associated through Mr. Tharp.
Just to clarify, are we seeing a rise in the use of meth because of the threat of heroin and fentanyl combined and the high death rate? Or has it always been there in the background and we've just our attention has been over on the heroin side?
No, it hasn't. It's enhanced now. We're seeing it more, and we're seeing more of our arrests coming in, and we're starting to see it trend more meth. And, it's a great question about, we really don't know why. We would sit around our table and speculate that even the heroin and fentanyl addicts, the addicts realize the opportunity to overdose on the fentanyl. Maybe they're using the meth. I really don't know what the answer for that is, but certainly probably the profit margin that Mike's talking about of being able to bring the volume of meth in makes it more supply and demand. This is more available, and we're going to work on that. With our partners, we're going to work on it here with our detectives and see if we can get rid of it, like we did our pain clinics, like we worked hard on our heroin, like we worked hard on our fentanyl. That's what we do. We're going to work on it. Good. Thank you.